Well, I mentioned this at the beginning of the Twitter Spaces yesterday, and I mention it again. This work is gone. The sale has ended, but there are more ways to give to our friends out in Turkey and Syria. The images are heart-wrenching. So, welcome back, everyone. Artist Journal, February 9th, 2023, broadcasting to the world from Berlin, Germany. And yeah, you probably know who this is. This is uczine with I almost hesitate to talk about the art here. I almost hesitate to talk about the art because of the nature of the situation. But let me just say this. You see, frankly, what a master communicator uczine is. A master visual communicator. And yeah, so that being said, let's look at what happened here. So this work is called Aid, and it was created to help and support people in the earthquake region. All proceeds will be sent to nonprofit organization ABAP. Yeah, so anyway, there are a lot of ways to give, and I mentioned it at the start of the Twitter Spaces, but of course people are still filing in. So unfortunately, this one is gone. And look at how much money uczine raised here, 567 times 0.03. That looks like maybe 16 ETH, so more than $20,000 if my math is on target here. So nice work from uczine here. And here's another one. Here's a way you can donate, actually. This is from Popple, Palm Pilot Wallpaper, TezQuakeAid. So this is another way you can find ways to give. Again, the images are heart-wrenching, and earthquakes are a strange news event in the sense that sometimes they take a little bit of time to register, is sort of my experience. And then because of the enormity of the damage, and because it's not from, an act of violence from people against people, it's a natural occurrence. So it's kind of its own, it's like a tsunami, it's like everything. But the tragedy is real. So you can help out with money. And this is a pretty cool thing that he did, that Popple did here. You can either contribute Tezos, or you can contribute 2 Tezos, or 5 or 10. So that is really cool. And this, of course, is going to help further relief in Turkey and the Syria earthquake. So shout out to Popple and uczine and bluretina here, finally. GM fam, Hope is all we need. I want to share below some great art and Turkish artist friends who will donate all the income from their mints for Turkey earthquake victims to official organizations. I'll be adding to this thread as much as I can. Even sharing is help. So bluretina here, I've retweeted this, and so you can find that on my feed, and you can find all the different ways you can give. And I think it's actually a beautiful way to kind of loosen the purse strings. I mean, picking up an uczine for, I guess it's $50, sure makes it a lot easier. It just kind of psychologically, it's great. And so you see the power of open editions still, and so I don't think that chapter is over. And again, it's tempting to just see it as a fixture in the digital art space that we are so fond of here. So anyways, check that out. And do what you can to support. Thank you to Cap'n. I got a gift. I got a few gifts, and we're going to go through them really quickly here. Birthday Cupcake from Cap'n. What an awesome surprise here. A one of one. And it was hilarious because my girlfriend made cupcakes for me, and they didn't look that dissimilar to this. So that is awesome. So thank you, Cap'n. A beautiful gift here and unexpected here. Let me just make it bigger. There you go. So, and with that great background, and I'm a huge fan of that series. And also Ilay with a beautiful one of one AI, another Prism Sky. So thanks, guys. It's deeply appreciated. And again, makes me feel special. Featured on Adrian Pocobelli Artist Journal number 107. 29th of December, 2022. So I guess I showed this way back when. So full circle here. Full circle. A one of one. Yeah, the first. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, again, and thank you to RoonerToon for this spaced out guy having a summer treat here. And you know, we didn't talk enough about RoonerToon's art yesterday, but luckily he's on weekly on the Twitter Spaces, and big shout out to everybody who came out. And because I'd like to talk more about RoonerToon's art. And again, and he's just so helpful and just a great conversationalist. So again, it's thrilling to be able to do that weekly. So hopefully next week we can talk a little bit more about what RoonerToon is up to. And finally, Santa Claus, I think also known as Niku P, on Twitter, if I remember right, with a portrait of Terence McKenna, which done in the JavaScript sort of generative art style. And I didn't see it at first, but then of course, there is Terence. And very quickly here, the write-up was actually pretty cool. The truth. And of course, you know, Terence McKenna, for those that might not know, he was basically the big psychedelic mushroom philosopher of the 1990s who really got famous. He was already famous in the counterculture before. I only learned about him from a book called The Archaic Revival, which was a collection of essays, you know, and with works like talking about the Voynich manuscript and so many great essays in there. And so, yeah, I mean, I consider Terence McKenna, like, I don't know if academia has embraced him yet. I'm sure there must be references, but I consider him, I call him the most imaginative philosopher of the 20th century. And he did die, I think, right on at 2000 there. But he was definitely, like, unquestionably in my mind, he was the most imaginative and, you know, a brilliant, just new territory, tons of new territory, really delivered the goods. So let's just see what he has to say here. Here's a quick quote. "The real truth that dare not speak itself is that no one is in control. Absolutely no one." And, you know, I have a line. It's sort of like, the only thing more terrifying that people, that there is some sort of conspiracy and that people are in control is that nobody's in control. That's the most terrifying thing of all, I would argue. So a similar thought here. I probably got it from listening to Terence. Terence McKenna was an American author, ethnobotanist. You guys can read that, the Timothy Leary of the 90s. Terence was a true philosopher, indeed. It'll be interesting, you know, scholarship was pretty late to the party with J.G. Ballard. I imagine it's going to be the same thing with Terence. I mean, it's probably already started, but I don't know, you know, so it'll be interesting to see. And finally, a quote. This is a famous one. "You want to reclaim your mind and get it out of the hand of the cultural engineers who want to turn you into a half-baked moron consuming all this trash that's being manufactured out of the bones of a dying world." He was a massive influence on me because of his ability for speech and just his imagination, right up there with Ballard. 1-bit portrait made with JavaScript Cellular Automata in P5.js. Huge file. So anyways, thanks guys. Totally awesome. And a big shout out. These were a couple of people that showed up on the Spaces yesterday. Lidice Silveira, thank you for calling in from Brazil. And I didn't get everybody, but I got a couple of people here. And Kant, here is a work, Black or White series, playing with gender, actually. I think it's quite brilliant, just kind of highlighting in these everyday situations the aspects of gender that we, may not be highlighted, of this guy just standing at a table there. So I think kind of fun and pretty interesting. So anyway, shout out to Kant, Lidice, and everybody who spoke yesterday. Again, great opportunity. I think 120 people, last I checked, listened. There's maybe 50 in the space, and people listen after, and it's going to go on Spotify. I'm going to start uploading today, actually, pieces. And further, just on that point, I'm also going to be starting to put out short form content based on the spaces. So if you put out some killer quote, that could end up on who knows where, but just as sound bites all over the place. So a nice opportunity to share your thoughts and get out there. Another kind of interesting community note, Mikey Wilson put out this piece, "This Too Shall Pass." And so kind of a mysterious work. I just saw this on Twitter, and kind of a cut-off shoe of Vans. And we'll go through this quickly. We're already 10 minutes in here, but I wanted to cover this. It's that kind of episode today, guys. I spent the entirety of 2016 in Montgomery County Correctional Facility. And again, most people know Mikey Wilson as one of the most generous, giving people on the Tezos platform. He is a mega collector, okay? Not long into my time, so due to driving while high, not long into my time there, I got in trouble and had to kick heroin while serving 30 days in the hole. I wrote this on my sneaker to remind me that one day I would be free again. This too shall pass. Then I found out that my father was dying and he passed away before I was released. Yeah, a heartbreaking story here. Heartbreak doesn't begin to describe the pain I was in. I kept my eye and mind on these words. No matter how bad or good things seem, they are but fleeting moments that will eventually pass. So again, we see this is in my universe. This is real art. This is one of the main functions of art, for expressing these kind of things. And so this too shall pass. And it's a, important, wise reminder that enjoy the good times because they may not last. So, and also the bad times, as Uczine says, if you're in hell, keep walking. This too shall pass. So, interesting wisdom from the scene here, guys. Check these out. So Kristen Roos, traveling through the mediums. He is, I don't know if you'd call it knitting, but we were looking at earlier images. Maybe he has weaving. These are starting to come together. These are the first of my weavings to be stretched in frame. So, and here's another one here. So we were looking at these being created, right, in previous episodes. I didn't clue in my brain that he would mount these on stretcher bars and it really, I think, brings up some really interesting questions because he's not only is he not painting on canvas, but he literally is creating his own canvas and making the art out of the canvas, and it looks stunning. Okay, look at that. So just really, really cool. You can see why he has such a, loyal collector base. And this looks great. Again, traveling through the mediums. We saw it with Uczine scanning from that zine and then using that as the laser somewhere. So you just see how powerful it is. And so anyways, stunning. You almost see in the, it's stunning. Even the threading and everything. It looks like he made it himself. So just super duper cool. Another testament to the richness and the depth of this scene here. Continuing on, the master of psychedelic abstraction, as I like to call him, Acid Boy in the house, Portal. And here it is. I believe this is on Tezos, and I'm telling you, I think this is for 650 Tezos, this one of one. I feel like it was 3 or 4 months ago, you could get an Acid Boy for 25 Tezos. Maybe it was 4 or 5 months ago. I think I picked up a couple. Now they're going for 650. So, and it makes sense. He's selling on Super Rare regularly. So it's great to see, and just more really attractive, cool psychedelic abstraction from the Masta Acid Boy. So continuing on, Tukes with a nice one here. So he was doing a lot of AI abstraction, and we can see it here. I assume this is AI. It looks like he's continued the theme. Let's see if he put any information here. May your children know the truth. Let them shine like the brightest star. So no details on the actual creation of the work, and I didn't see it minted, but it may be out there somewhere. Anyway, I thought pretty attractive and interesting. And look at MCHX, released just yesterday. Another one of these color field paintings, Digital Spring 1. And look at how gorgeous this is. Again, this looks like a museum here today, guys. It's your daily walk through your digital art museum here. And what's incredible is again, this is all released in the last 48 hours. So the fundamentals of this scene continue to dazzle, frankly, at least me, on enough to make these videos on a almost daily basis here. Look at Félix Lependre. Some, again, what I would consider gallery-like experimentation. And you're going, Adrian, that's a blue square. What's the big deal? Check it out. Blue haze. I upscaled 1 pixel of hashtag 005AF0, so hexadecimal, to 7,776 by 7,776 to see what happens. Topaz Gigapixel AI created some interesting artifacts to it as the software tries to fill in missing information. Feels like a layer of fog blurring its source. Again, I would say this is pretty sophisticated experimentation, and you might not be able to see it, but I think if you look here, I made it large. So here is a very close-up version, and you can see over here, it's darker. It's darker on the left, and there's just like, as I scroll through it, you can start to see like almost this fog that he's talking about. So fascinating. I'm kind of back to this qualitative science idea. Like, to me, this is science without number, although you could theoretically attribute number to it by measuring the hexadecimal of each pixel in here, and then, seeing the variation and whatnot. But nevertheless, what I'd consider almost like, quasi-scientific, and maybe it's not even, investigation here, exploration. So just super cool from Félix Lependre. So that is cool. And look at this, more fascinating abstraction here. Good morning from Feels, and just really cool and just a beautiful beautiful texture here. So it all continues to happen. And here's some more abstraction. Another one from Kato for only a Tezos here, and some beautiful colors. And I believe that this looks like almost a yellowish cream gray in the background, which works so nicely and complements these beautiful gradients here and kind of op art again feeling from Kato. Another one from Kota Nakazono, who continues with his abstraction here. So again, you can see, like, again, this is the last 48 hours. You can put together an abstract show, a digital art abstraction. You could say digital art abstraction now, there's your show, and use works from the last, 48 hours. Here's another one, Kit Velo. I can't make this bigger, at least not right now. I just stop it when I click on it. But anyways, kind of an interesting work. I guess you see a computer repeated over here, playing with patterning. Almost looks like a Windows 95 type desktop with a lot of dithering and gradients flowing through it. And of course, Datura, Mirage number 3850. And this is an edition of 11, buy for 10. So more cool work from Datura. Look at that sun. I assume that's a sun. Mirage, yeah. I mean, and it's beautiful. Great title too. And look at all this movement here. KurtHustle Collective, they have another work on Manifold. So that is on Ethereum, limited edition of 10 for 0.01997. And just an interesting video here. Again, at that digital art, the genres of digital art show, KurtHustle Collective, I have to say, was a fan favorite there, those early commercials. And so anyways, some new work from KurtHustle Collective, and also another one with their kind of trademark humor, the Hustle Bay, upload, download to and from the Hustle Bay, brought to you by KurtHustle Collective. So again, it just feels like a gallery in here today. Continuing on, a new guy who I've never heard of till now. I feel like maybe I should have heard of Mental Barf, but a memorable name, and there he is, Let It Burn, to rise up through the ashes, Mental Barf 2023. This job has worked 0 days without getting burned. So interesting, and maybe some references to the open editions here, and maybe a security guy, and the world is on fire, but he's looking at his open editions here maybe. So anyways, edition of 15, buy for 50. So that is on secondary, so popular. Look at this, Bazaya on Foundation. So Bazaya's all over the place here. He's on Super Rare, he's on Foundation, he's on Object. So check this out, and Die with the Most Likes has placed a bid, has met the reserve of 0.1. Now Lagojo is coming in for the Pamela Anderson reference, the Baywatch reference, a famous character, I guess from the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, I would guess. I mean, I remember Baywatch when I was like 12 or 13, with kind of characteristic Bazaya, Chanel, Paris, and Supreme, and then putting on is this Louis Vuitton patterning? I'm back to Strange Thing and that patterning. So anyways, cool work, and it's popular here. It's bidded on right away by some stars in the ecosystem. Varya was just kind of an interesting work. We've been following Varya, so I thought this was just an interesting development because Varya does a lot of AI and then the sampled brush work. And so I thought this was just interesting to see the variation here. Good morning, everyone. New drop on World of V Art, which I haven't heard of before. World of V NFT Marketplace. So maybe that's a new one on VE chain. I'm trying to think of what with zero gas fees, green NFTs. I'm not sure what blockchain that is. VE almost looks like Aave or something, but they don't have their own blockchain as far as I know. RJ with a new one on Object, still available for a Tezos, just kind of snuck in there. What I liked about this, I love RJ, as you know. And what I liked about this was a couple of things. First, the dirty screen here, or what seems to be a dirty screen, but maybe that's just a reflection. And the other was the reversal. Usually it's the screensaver that is the movement here, but instead it's the outdoors. So it's kind of been reversed, where the external world is the thing in movement and changing, and the computer remains the same. GMGN, the days pass. So again, just a real poetic artist in my view. G, shadowburned. So I've never heard of G before either. So we're bringing in the new artists here, and kind of a ghost-like figure, some digital painting at a gas station. And the gas station has Instagram and Twitter on it, and some interesting textures here. So anyways, interesting artists. Let's just quickly bring up their page. So yeah, so new on the scene here. Another failed artist. Okay. Well, it makes you wonder, does that have anything to do with our other failed artist? Is that a clue? And so anyways, interesting. Padrino with his second work here, Untitled Self-Portrait, and with the glorious Apple IIe that my mom will recognize and I will recognize, our first computer, and Untitled Self-Portrait, 2016 RIP. Sometimes things stay burned into your retina from different moments in your life. So another, it's that kind of day out here, guys. It's not all sunshine and rainbows out here. So sometimes regret bleeds down into your eyes as you look on to what you have sown behind in your life. Untitled Self-Portrait is a digital painting series that examines the inner and outer self and the things that stay burned in our minds over time. It is a series of portraits painted by me of my friends, peers, and those who have an impact on my development as a digital artist. Buy for $338 on secondary. It is sold out on primary. Editions of 37, so he's doing great here. So another self-portrait, and that, my friends, looks like Mikey Wilson, the guy with the Vans shoe at the beginning, I believe. Now, I'm not positive on that. So maybe a response to the other one, to Mikey's work. I'm not sure, but just kind of interesting. I think they could hang together, that's for sure. Dead Man with Toaster, and of course this used to be Treza Rodanx. So with a Microsoft Paint kind of digital oil painting, stuffing pizza and chicken into a burning toaster here. So all sorts of mayhem here. Let's see what he does next. One of one at auction for $4. Let's see how much time is left. There are only 4 hours remaining, so you may be able to sneak in and get that one for a song. Edmarola. This feels like it complements the painter nicely. Now we have the writer. And I believe this is a one of one that sold for $55. So I thought it was quite cool. And just, that kind of profound, almost ancient, mysterious quality that Ed's work has. And shout out to Ed, who couldn't make it to the spaces but wanted to. I'm not sure if it just doesn't fit his schedule, but it would be awesome. I'd love to change the schedule to accommodate people here and there, but then I think people won't know when it's on, so I just kind of religiously stay to that 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's not perfect for everyone, but it seems like a balance. So anyways, hopefully Ed Marola can make it out sometime. Rustic Digital Art, Forrest Gump. So this is another addition to the Cloud Period series. This one moves, interestingly. And, you know, as I'm not super movie literate and I have not seen Forrest Gump, I know there's something about running. So I don't know the reference other than that it's about Forrest Gump and that's something to do with running. But I'm sure everybody that's seen that movie will understand it far better than I. This is available for 18 Tezos on secondary, so sold out on primary. So more interesting work from Rustic Digital Art. Shout out. Thank you for the birthday wishes. This is an interesting new artist that I'd never seen before. Niksnikossss. Now, this is the last minted work. And again, just posted on Twitter, you know, here was my last minted work of 2022. And so that's how I found it. So here I am talking about it, you know, here we like looking at it and finding out more. So I thought it was actually a stunning work. So I'm kind of back to this idea of how worthwhile it is to just post your work on a regular basis, because you're just going to get more people knowing about your work and checking it out, you know. So here's just some very beautiful, you know, beautiful, is this a digital painting illustration, you know? And so a JPEG, fairly large with a poem. So interesting and available for 0.11 ETH. So interesting and original. And here's some of their other work. So anyways, just kind of interesting here. Here's some movement and see them develop. And some are selling, quarter of an ETH here. So 0.15 ETH. So anyways, it's always worth it to keep putting your art out there. And again, I say that as much to myself, maybe more than anybody. Continuing on, another artist that I don't think I've seen before, MohammadRnft GM. And I thought this was quite stunning. It reminds me of a lot of that patterning that you'll see in Middle Eastern art from like the 700s, because the reason why they have a lot of pattern is because I believe it was against Islam to represent icons. As far as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an expert, but there was a great, at the Pergamon, there's a great Islamic art section, and it's all patterns. Like there's no representation that I remember because you weren't allowed to show icons. So it was all this really elaborate patterning. So the reason I mention that is because in the background, you can kind of see an echo of that patterning. And so here you have it, and then some representation on top. A beautiful contrast and very interesting. Post Office NFT. So this was, again, something that was posted. It was an older work. You see it's way down here. And he's released a bunch since. So 21 years of experience in visual arts. So anyways, an interesting artist. And there it is on Foundation again, which continues to collect these artists because there is no gate on Foundation. So I just think it's great. And like what's cool about Foundation is it retains its collectability. It's not like, you know, just open platform where you don't feel like it's collectible, because the platform actually does matter, as we know, right? So anyways, cool work from MohammadRnft.eth. And here we go, going into some pixel art here, bite by bit with a landscape. And I kind of like just the simplicity of this, just the different, you know, dithering densities, I guess you would say, dithering sizes, densities here in a landscape, and then white and black for the actual land, and then just kind of a blue, straight up web blue sky in the sky. So Pixland 4004, again, PC Paint 3.1. That might have supposed to have been in the pixel art section, but we're going to move on here. Boo Boy with a cool illustration. Again, referencing what we saw with Mental Barf, these open editions here. It's over for fundraising to help the earthquake plan. Total sales. So it looks like this was also related to fundraising for the earthquake. So anyways, cool work from Boo Boy. And again, these open editions I think are awesome exactly for this purpose. And again, like uczine raised like $20,000 in, you know, a couple of days. Louis Osborne with a new work here. This just got minted, and very nice work here, where the color, when the bouncing ball head hits the underlying, structure, color is inserted. So, and of course, his typical classic colors, his trademark colors is what I'm trying to say here. So very cool work from Louis Osborne, edition of 16, nice and low. And this looks like it's an MP4, if I am not mistaken here. Yes, MP4. So cool, and I thought I'd bring up Louis Osborne's, we didn't see this work here. This is on Super Rare from January 14th, Endless Cycle. And let me just see if there's sound. There's no sound. But you see a person, kind of this portrait of daily life here. So again, art we can relate to, And yeah, so just going through your routine here. Again, this makes me incredibly bullish on this scene when I see this kind of thing. It's just, again, art that you can relate to. So fascinating. Did this sell? It did for 1 ETH. So Endless Cycle, Tomorrow is Another Day by Louis Osborne on Super Rare. Another piece, we've looked at Ilio Givel before, I believe. A tribute to all the artists who play beautifully every game. So a pretty cool work here. Another nice illustration and kind of semi-abstract. You see a shoe here, but kind of stretched out. So this looks like a body, but repeated. This looks like a soccer ball, but then there's a weird background. The shadow doesn't continue. And so what's going on? Current bid, 0.15 ETH. So again, you just got to be happy about this. The market is strong here. And continuing on, how are we doing? Pretty good. So, Guy, we've looked at Philosopher before, and again, they just posted a GM on Twitter, probably of a previous work, and we've looked at their page before, and look at this stunning frame here. So again, it's always worth posting your work, because I don't recollect seeing this, even though we probably did look at this before. And here's a semi-robotic guy and a UFO on the moon, let's say, and the Earth on fire, and this gorgeous multicolored, starred sky. So hope. Beautiful. That's what we need today. We need hope. Tired Pixels by Armilk, and I'm not sure if this was a birthday present. This was sent to me, and I like showing Armilk's work. And you know what I find particularly fascinating about this work is the muted colors. It's almost like print colors or something. So interesting muted colors, interesting decisions, and is that a sun or a moon? So anyways, cool work from Armilk 88, edition of 14, now available on secondary for $12.50, and it sold on primary for $5. And it probably sold out right away. He's pretty popular. $4.30, yeah, in 6 minutes. Again, so the things are booming. Things continue to boom here, and I'm seeing new collectors show up, so I think, on Tezos, so pretty interesting. My friend Ben, the painter, sent me this, and I thought this was kind of interesting. I wasn't sure, this is available on Saatchi, so I wasn't sure, I guess it's physical, if it's available on Saatchi Art, and I just thought this was a cool version of Lady with Ermine by Leonardo, which I think we all recognize here. So just kind of interesting. So just in passing, and here is a pixel art work, and I don't know if this is minted anywhere. You see a fair amount of Japanese pixel art that is just on Twitter. And here is a very, very nice work. I mean, it would sell, I'm sure of it. Canal District. I don't think, we may have looked at this before, but anyways, again, the power of showing your work on Twitter. Here's some more pixel art. Manidal, the cat tarot. So we have new ones here and some really nice dithering in the background here. So here's the Emperor. And here is the Hierophant, which I believe would be like the kind of the high priest magician type thing, the Hierophant. Do we have a definition? Often known as the teacher or the Pope, and represents established principles and institutions. The Hierophant can stand in for a spiritual or religious advisor, as well as a counselor or mentor who will offer you advice and direction. So super cool, sold out, and beautiful. I am loving the cat tarot. eternal in my universe. It's like an instant classic in my universe. And this is cool. Speaking of the instant classic, check it out. GA with my work in progress of the Lovers, Cat Tarot. Have a great lunch. And this looks like Aspirite, or however you pronounce that software, the main pixel art software. That looks like Aspirite. So anyways, another clue into the Cat Tarot. And Sabato, Laundry Hole, the Offshore Firm Volume 2. So this is part of a series that we saw before with the, I think, the guns in the office. And so kind of, a mysterious, kind of pixel-ish work. And playing, it's almost like a movie, but it's a GIF, interesting, right? And I mean, Sabato's, you see the glitch here, there's probably glitches. And so just interesting work as usual here. Again, this feels like a gallery, a museum gallery. Our daily walk through the gallery here, available for 5 Tezos, edition of 25. Do we have any other 3D GIF? And yeah, it seems to be part of a other series that we were looking at before. You can read the details here. And a few works by Tezos, and more just extremely rich, glitchy color. So it's beautiful. And a piano, great subject matter. You can hear the music coming out of those colors. It is beautiful. And I love the title, Future Piano 1. And we have Future Couch 4. This is an edition of 1. Shall we see what it sold for? Offer of 5. So this hasn't sold yet. So pretty cool. And wouldn't you love to have a couch like that? And Future Bed 4. This is an edition of 25. And let's just see what happened. And sold for 5 in probably right away within let's just look. Listed at 7:45 Berlin time and sold out in 5 minutes, 25, so a cool 125 Tezos. So Tezos continues to rake it in, deservingly. Here is a work by House of the Model, another song, and a really nice, actually, digital work here. Kind of a club track. Let's just see if we can get some volume here. Set the mood. A little bit of hope. So, pretty cool. House of the Model has really nice melodies. Like they're what I call cool melodies. Kind of that it's got that final off-key little part that just gives you all the energy. Anyways, available for 1 Tezos, edition of 10,000. Get it while you can. Maybe they will burn at some point. Look at how gorgeous this Sky Goodman is. All your dreams are drip highs. AI kicks plus pixel sorting. This is gorgeous. And the color combination and everything. So, it's fun to watch this evolve. It is beautiful. These imagined sneakers with AI, and the grip seems to be floating off here. Very beautiful and wonderful color glitch art. Buy for 6, still available, edition of 10. And Sulkian, you may remember, and we're going to look at another point here, maybe we can look now, has just released a series on FX Hash, and I was trying to load up the individual works, but they were really slow. Maybe it's FX Hash, maybe it's my computer, I don't know. So anyways, terabytes, and he's the guy that put together the sizers, the synthesizer, and there's a few actually, you can see right there. And maybe if we go to his really old work, he's the guy that did this wonderful work here. Do we have volume? Oh, this is just a animated. Let me show you. I showed this actually at the show, and these works. I think these are great if you've never seen these before. Buy for 9. Yeah. Try not to crash my computer here at the end. So just kind of cool. Super cool. Like garden airplane traps here, cool. Like Max Ernst. Continuing on. So he's got a new FX Hash. Look at this. I picked this up. A 1 of 1 from Porta Malmar. And remember, he's the collage, or she. Porta Malmar is the collage artist. And look at how fabulous this collage is. This looks like George Washington or something. and some botanical, and then some really nice, chunky, finger painting here, digital finger painting, for lack of better words. Some nice digital shapes. I ran to pick this up for 20 Tezos, one of one. Beautiful. In my museum here, our morning digital art museum. Tiny Moth by Lily Illo, buy for $49, edition of 20. So this must be on secondary. It is. And kind of has a nice, what shall we say, a nice cubist feel to it, doesn't it? It has those cubist lines. I mean, it kind of shouts that from the rooftops for me, with a couple of butterflies in there. And so this is AI, okay? Australian artist Lily Illo in collaboration with AI 2023. Tiny Moth, beautiful work. And some physical work. And I've never heard of showdeer.art. So double check, always double check. But I assume it's, and so Showdeer, this is probably his site. This is Showdeer's. I was wondering, because I thought maybe it was a platform. Anyway, look at this. So this is acrylic. I was looking it up, and just kind of a cool acrylic work here. And yeah, just kind of nice work out there. And continuing on, Quila Nina with another physical work, and again, kind of continuing her mystical, kind of South Central American kind of vibe here. And what is this called? Manja, Acrylic Glitter, Sequins, and Photoshop 2017. And Photoshop, interestingly. And finally, another one from Bruno Miguel's studio. It's funny, I posted one of these on Instagram in stories, and a friend of mine was like, oh, you're posting Bruno's work. I know Bruno. So that was Tyann. So shout out to Tyann, who is in Berlin here. He's from Brazil. So anyways, small world. And just more beautiful work. And another one from Jesse Makinson. And this is at which gallery again? Françoise Gabali. And so here are more, pieces here, and pretty stunning work here. So just beautiful. And that's your show. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, take care. Keep the hope, guys.